Joining us now is Jagannnadham Thunuguntla, equity head at SMC Capitals. Jagan, good morning. Kind of flattish market, but lots of individual pockets of action out there. And we'll come to some of those individual pockets in a moment. But have you got your eye on Reliance Industries at all ahead of the AGM or not really?
Yeah, I mean, Reliance Industries, has been in a range for quite some time and so much of action. And because every day morning, India is getting up to see either one of the brothers doing one thing or other. I mean, now, so I think almost entire India is up for sale, it seems for them. So, because especially after non-compete agreement being called off. I think if that news of any integration tomorrow happens, and which may be impending and inevitable as it is standing today. I mean, so let's see what happens. Either ways, I think. Reliance overall is in a very quite tight range. I mean, only at best it may be a market performer and may not be outperformer because most of the businesses they may be getting in are long gestation businesses, may not be having any immediate impact on the P&L or on the balance sheet. So fine. I mean, so to that extent, the upside may be kept.
Okay, let's talk about some other individual stocks. I see that Fortis is up 3% or so, and yesterday there was news that the Singapore security regulator has set a deadline for Fortis. They said if you're going to make an open offer for Parkway, do it by July 30th. You know, the management at Fortis is still sort of, you know, the statement that came out 2 days ago, keeping our options open, we'll see how it goes. Would you play Fortis right now?
You see, I mean, if you closely observe, one thing is, I don't think these Singh brothers will be going aggressively and I mean going for a outrageous valuations for the transaction because they will be sensible enough to stop where it matters. I mean, so I'm sure that's why when they say keeping all the options open, that means they may be even ready for selling off entire 26%, book a quick buck and quick profit and exit the whole show. I mean that option is also always there. And also today's that news of even Reliance interest in the Fortis. I mean, so there is so much of action flow because while the market is in very boring and lukewarm zone. I mean, the news flow only keeping the mood upbeat as of now.
Right.
Jagan, how do you look at some of the other Reliance pack? I want to talk about the ADAG pack, Reliance Power, Reliance Natural Resources, Reliance Communication. Even a lot of interest now coming back in Reliance Capital. Yes. We spoke to a couple of analysts yesterday saying that there's a lot of hidden value. Again, it all hinges on the insurance vertical that they have. But how are you positioned in this particular?
ADAG overall is a high beta pack. I mean, so you have to be ready for it because when the market rallies, I'm sure they can perform very fast. But at the same time, you should be ready for a bad day as well. And yesterday, the news maybe that they're entering in even 18% into Bloomberg UTV, and that is another interesting area. So let's see how it goes. So it all depends upon all this, how it settles down, because there is a lot of hype now, and so who is interested about playing the adrenaline rush, they can play, but otherwise, I mean, so a lot of action.
Reliance Capital 18% stake in Bloomberg UTV. UTV stock is up 1.25% right now. Sorry, Ashu,
yeah, I want to talk about metals. We've been reporting that there's a proposal for a 26% windfall tax on the miners, especially the listed ones. There could be some equity sharing as well. Do you think it's a hugely negative trigger for the mining companies? On one side, they're still the factor of China is lingering on whether demand is sustainable or not. Then we see the export duty also being talked about, a hike on that front. Do you think on multiple counts there could be a big negative?
Yeah, there are many things, I mean, which can definitely put pressure on the margins for sure. But it all depends on whether it happens or not. All these things, because at times because it may not be that easy because the vested interests are so huge, and because across India and so many involved parties, so at times regulations are not so easy to bring in. If it happens, yes, of course there will be margin pressure, but only question is the only thing needs to be seen is whether it is going to come. So
want to focus on one stock, Religare Enterprises. It's down nearly 7% at 396 rupees. That's Religare for you. Religare is taking a big knock in today's trading session and on pretty strong volumes as well. Really high volumes on the Religare stock. 395 is where Religare is currently at, 6.5% down, just shaving off 27 rupees pretty much at the word go. Punch Lloyd, on the other hand, is a gainer today at 128. It's up nearly 2%. That's the Religare chart for you. The pain came pretty soon after the opening bell. Religare, any views, Jagan, on that stock?
Yeah, I mean, Religare, I mean, of course, they're having the liquid money because of the ran back the stake sale. So money-wise, they have a lot of position too, and also overall the business is also financial services is coming back. I mean, so Religare is a decent play. But the question is one has to be careful as well, because if any market pressure comes, I'm sure all these stocks are going to go down as well. So
you have a stock like TTK Prestige on your radar? I mean, Cities picked up a little bit of stake, saw action today, saw action yesterday. Today, pretty substantial gainer as well. On your radar?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it is not in specific, but if there's any acquisitions of such, definitely will trigger some excitement. And if the deal warrants even open offer or something like that, so even that can add a little bit more activity as well. Even some action these days is appearing even in the areas where the delisting phenomena is coming in, that MNC related delisting area, because volumes have suddenly picked up in all these MNC counters, as well as the stocks are becoming quite dynamic, both upside as well as on the correction side. For example, if you see yesterday that BOC India, that delisting news came, and then the stock has went up all the way to 314, and then yesterday cooled off a bit. Because if you closely see, the delisting happening itself is a big question in that, because even in that there is a wide holding, because even if there is a wide holding. So, for example, the total number of shares that are required to complete the delisting is about 45 lakh shares. And HNIs, corporates, institutions put together are having only 26 lakh shares. So the remaining 19 lakh shares have to come from the retail. The total holding of retail is 63 lakh shares. So 63 lakh shares, you have to get 19 lakh shares. But if you see 63 lakh shares, out of that 17 lakh shares are not even dematted.
Right.
That means they are that kind of investor, they may not even remember that they were having BOC India purchased some 10-15 years back or something like that. So if you remove that portion, so it is about, equation is simple, 47 lakh shares, and you are expecting 19 lakh shares of response. If that happens, the delisting will go through. If that doesn't happen, then delisting will be called off. Then the share price can fall very fast, because in the anticipation of delisting, the share price has rallied very, very strong. Currently the share is trading at 46 times historic PE multiple, and 36 times trailing 12 months PE multiple. So the valuation has went way ahead in the anticipation of delisting, but investors should be very, very careful, because playing delisting is like playing with fire. So investors have to be careful.
Okay. Jagan, I think we're all out of time this morning. There's so many interesting stocks to talk about, but is there anything on your watch list? I mean, is there something where you see a potential play, interesting play, offbeat play?
Yeah, I mean, the entire Reliance group is good thing, because I think nothing wrong in today having closing the day with a long on Reliance, because tomorrow anything can happen, because AGM is a big news.
But anything on the negative side can also happen.
And oil and gas is slightly getting tricky area, because again, that meeting, when it happens itself, is getting quite tricky. So may or may not happen. So that is one area, maybe whenever there is no political consensus, these stocks can correct very, very fast. And real estate is definitely a sell. I mean, so despite the news that there may be some acquisitions of Khazanah, etc. Okay, but that can be avoidable.
So real estate is a sell. Oil and gas is tricky. Reliance Industries, it would be safe to go long on it ahead of the AGM. Jagan, thanks very much for joining us.